All right, everyone get ready because today we're going deep on something that might actually put some cash back in your pocket.
Hmm, intriguing.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about the self-employed tax credit.
The SETC?
Yeah, the SETC. And we got a ton of information here from the SETC Pros website.
Oh, very cool.
And it's pretty wild. This tax credit could be worth up to $32,220.
Wow.
Yeah, and get this, over $1 billion has already been paid out.
Wow. That's a lot of people are taking advantage of this.
It really is. So this is serious business, guys.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're on a mission to help you guys figure out if you qualify and how to navigate this whole process.
Yeah, there are deadlines and things like that to keep in mind.
For sure, for sure. But before we get into the details,
What?
can we just step back for a sec and talk about who this program is actually for?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is a result of the Pandemic Relief Acts,
Yeah.
the FSCRA and the ARPA.
Right.
And it's really designed for folks who were earning self-employment income back in 2021.
Okay.
And who filed a Schedule C with their tax return. Got it. So we're talking about realtors, stylists, gig workers, freelancers, construction workers,
Correct.
basically anybody who wasn't relying only on a W-2 or income from a corporation.
So that could be a lot of people.
It is a lot of people.
Hmm.
The website says over 40 million Americans could be eligible,
Wow.
which is pretty mind-blowing when you think about it.
Yeah, that's a huge chunk of the workforce.
It is.
Now, I know it might feel like ancient history, but we're talking about COVID-related disruptions from way back in 2021.
Right.
So can you remind us what exactly we're talking about here?
Yeah, so it's a wide range of situations.
Okay.
This was a time of massive uncertainty for a lot of people.
Absolutely.
And did you catch COVID?
Mm-hmm.
Did you have to care for a sick family member
Right.
or deal with school closures that forced you to stay home?
Yeah.
What about government shutdowns impacting your work?
Okay.
All of these qualify as disruptions under the SETC guidelines.
So it's not just anybody who was self-employed during that time. There has to be a clear link to how COVID actually messed with their work.
Exactly.
Okay, so before we get everybody's hopes up too high, let's get into the nitty-gritty of eligibility here.
Yeah, let's do it.
So what are the hard and fast rules?
So the core requirement here is that you must have had self-employment income in 2021
Okay.
that you reported on a Schedule C.
Got it.
That's the IRS form specifically for sole proprietors and independent contractors.
Mm.
So if you were only working a W-2 job
Right.
or earning income through an S-Corp or a C-Corp,
Yeah.
this program isn't really designed for you.
Okay, so we're talking about the true solopreneurs out there.
Yep, the ones who are really running their own show.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, now let's talk about the application process because honestly, dealing with taxes and forms
Oh, yeah.
can be a total nightmare.
It can be.
But from what I've seen, SETC Pros has made it really straightforward.
They have.
So tell me more about that.
Well, their application is free and completely confidential.
Mm.
And you don't even need to dig up those old tax documents and upload them.
No way. Seriously.
I'm serious. It's kind of amazing.
That sounds way too easy.
I know, right?
How does that even work?
Well, they've got this system that pulls your tax records electronically straight from the IRS.
Really?
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Of course, there's an ID verification step,
Right.
just to make sure everything is secure.
Right. You wouldn't want just anyone accessing your financial info.
Exactly.
Okay, so I'm imagining someone listening right now who filed their 2021 taxes ages ago, and they're probably thinking am I out of luck?
Right.
You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean, but no, they are not out of luck.
Really?
Even if you've already filed your 2021 return, you can still apply.
Oh, wow.
They address this specific concern in their FAQs.
That's a huge relief.
It is.
Okay, so what about the timeline?
No.
If someone applies today, how long does it usually take to see any benefits?
So according to their website, they usually get your IRS data within 3 to 5 business days of your application.
Okay.
Then they'll calculate your potential refund
Mm-hmm.
and send you an official notice.
Got it.
And once you review that and provide banking information, they only deduct their fee after the IRS deposits your refund.
Okay.
No upfront costs involved.
So it sounds like while there is some waiting involved as the IRS does its thing,
Right.
they've made it as efficient as possible on their end.
Absolutely.
Okay. Now, you mentioned a fee, so how does that work exactly?
They actually have a couple of options.
Okay.
They can deduct it directly from your refund,
Mm-hmm.
or you can choose a separate payment method.
Okay.
But the key is that they only get paid if they successfully recover money for you.
So no out-of-pocket expenses up front,
Exactly.
and they're invested in making sure you get that refund.
That's right.
That's a pretty good deal.
It is a good deal.
Now, speaking of making sure you get the refund,
Yeah.
I'm always curious to hear like what people's actual experiences have been.
Yeah, me too.
Do they have any testimonials on the website?
Oh, they do.
Yeah.
There's a whole section dedicated to client feedback.
Really?
Yeah,
It's always good to get a feel for like real life experiences.
absolutely. You know what they say? The proof is in the pudding.
That's right.
Here's one from Kay Wilson in Denver. SETC Pros answered all my questions and concerns I had. I was very pleased with the process to get my amended return.
Okay.
And then another one from Ayub Afana in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
They made it easy to get my funds and always replied quickly when I had questions about the process.
It's great to hear that people are having positive experiences.
Yeah.
And that they're feeling supported throughout the process.
Yeah.
Because, let's be honest, dealing with anything tax-related can be nerve-wracking.
Definitely.
So that peace of mind is really valuable.
Absolutely.
And it seems like they're getting some well-deserved recognition, too.
They are.
I saw they have a whole SETC Pros in the news section on their website.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've been featured in a few publications.
Which definitely adds to their credibility.
For sure.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
You know, who qualifies those qualifying events, the application process fees,
Yep.
and even some positive feedback.
It's been a good overview so far.
It has. Before we move on, are there any like expert insights or things you think our listeners should keep in mind as we sort of move forward with this conversation?
Yeah, I think it's important to remember that while the maximum credit is $32,220,
Right.
the actual amount you could receive depends on your specific situation.
Okay.
So your net income, sick days, caregiving time,
Uh-huh.
and those school closures we talked about.
Right.
It's not one size fits all.
Right. Each case is unique.
Exactly.
Okay.
And they mentioned that if your 2020 business income was higher than 2021,
Oh, yeah, you mentioned that earlier.
you might actually be able to use that to calculate your benefits.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's a great tip.
It never hurts to explore all the options.
All right, let's get into some of those burning questions I bet our listener has right now.
Yeah, let's dive into those FAQs.
And try to clear up any confusion.
Let's do it.
Okay, so here's a common one.
Okay.
Can you still claim the credit if you had other income sources besides self-employment?
Okay.
Like, let's say, a part-time W-2 job.
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And the answer is yes, you can.
Oh, wow.
As long as you filed a Schedule C with your 2021 tax return, you're likely in the game.
Okay.
It's not limited to people who only had self-employment income.
That's great news for folks with multiple income streams.
It is.
Okay, now what about deadlines?
Right.
We know the overall program deadline is April 15, 2025.
Right.
But are there any other important dates to be aware of?
There is a specific change that's coming up
Okay.
after May 17, 2024.
Okay.
After that date, claiming part of the credit from the 2020 tax year gets a little bit trickier,
Okay.
depending on when you filed
Right.
and how many work days you missed due to COVID. So it's something to definitely keep in mind.
So the sooner you look into this, the better.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Don't wait until the last minute.
Right.
Start exploring now.
Okay.
So you have ample time to gather information and make sure you're maximizing your potential benefits.
I'm taking notes.
Good.
Anything else we should cover before we wrap up this first part of our deep dive?
I think we've laid a solid foundation
Yeah.
for understanding the SETC,
Okay.
who it's for, how to apply, and some key considerations.
I agree. We've given our listener a lot to think about.
We have.
But don't worry, we're not done yet.
No, we're not.
When we return for part 2, we'll dig deeper into the nuances of the SETC, address more common questions, and really start to explore those potential game-changing financial benefits.
It's going to be good.
It is. So stay tuned.
Welcome back.
Glad to be back.
Before we kind of jump into some other areas, we were getting into some of those frequently asked questions about the self-employed tax credit. And I thought it would be valuable to continue going through those.
Totally. I think our listener is like eager to hear,
Yeah.
does my situation qualify?
Right.
So let's jump back into those FAQs.
Oh, okay. Sounds good.
Okay, one question that I have is, are there any like restrictions on the types of self-employment income that qualifies? Self-employment is so broad these days.
It is.
Yeah.
That's a valid question.
Yeah.
But the good news is that it seems pretty straightforward.
Okay.
The website states that any income you reported on your Schedule C for either 2020 or 2021
Okay.
should qualify.
Got it.
And they even highlight that their system double checks everything
Oh, cool.
to make sure you're receiving every dollar you're entitled to.
That's great.
Yeah.
So no need to overthink it.
Outside
If it's on your Schedule C,
You're good to go.
it's in the running.
Yeah.
Okay, what about people who like might get an email back saying they don't qualify?
Right.
That's gotta be a bummer.
Yeah, it would be disappointing for sure.
Yeah.
But SETC Pros actually offers some helpful advice
Oh,
on their website for this exact scenario.
okay.
And they basically explain that if you had zero positive business income on your Schedule C,
Meaning you like broke even.
meaning you either broke even or you had a loss in 2021,
Right.
you likely won't qualify for the SETC.
Oh, okay.
And they even point you to the specific lines
Oh, wow.
on your Schedule C
Okay.
to check.
So it's worth like grabbing that Schedule C
Yeah.
and double checking those numbers.
Exactly.
Okay.
And they even encourage you to reach out to them
Wow.
with a picture of your Schedule C
Okay.
if you see a positive number,
Okay.
but still received that not qualified email.
Okay.
They seem willing to kind of investigate further,
That's awesome.
which is reassuring.
Yeah, that personal touch is really nice.
Yeah, I thought so too.
Okay, what about people who are listening and thinking like, this all sounds great, but like taxes bewilder me. I wouldn't even know where to begin to claim this credit, you know?
Rest assured you are not alone.
Yeah,
A lot of people feel that way.
for sure.
And the good news is that SETC Pros really takes care of the heavy lifting here.
Okay.
Once you complete the application, including the ID verification,
Yeah.
their team works its magic.
Okay.
They prepare your final documents,
Okay.
and they'll provide crystal clear instructions on how to sign and send them directly to the IRS.
So they've like taken a potentially intimidating process and made it user-friendly.
Totally.
That's a game changer for a lot of people.
Yeah, I think so.
You know, we touched on fees earlier.
Oh, we did.
But I think it's worth like reiterating. Are there any upfront fees for using their services?
That is such a good point to reemphasize.
Yeah.
There are absolutely no upfront fees.
Okay.
So checking your eligibility and getting that official maximum refund amount is totally free.
Okay.
They only get paid if you get paid.
I like that guarantee.
Yeah, it takes a lot of the stress out of it.
Absolutely.
For sure.
And how do they handle those fees once the refund comes through?
Okay, so they offer a couple of options.
Okay.
If you don't owe any back taxes,
Okay.
they'll simply deduct their fee from your bank account after the IRS deposits your refund.
Okay.
And they use Stripe for this, which is a well-known and secure payment platform.
Yeah.
So everything is handled safely and privately.
Okay, so that's pretty seamless.
Yeah.
What about folks who do owe back taxes?
Okay, so they address that directly on their website as well.
Okay.
And if you owe back taxes, they'll work with you
Okay.
to find the best payment option.
Got it.
And they might even be able to eliminate your tax debt entirely
Wow.
while still ensuring that you receive some of that refund money.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
They're really committed to like improving their clients' overall financial situations,
Yeah.
not just like helping with this one-time credit.
It seems that way.
Yeah.
They even mention on their website how much they love being a part of their clients' success stories. It really comes across as more than just a business transaction for them.
That's really awesome to hear.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of the like practical aspects here.
Yeah.
I want to tap into your expertise a bit.
Okay.
You know, based on everything we've learned,
Mhm.
like what are some of the bigger implications of this program?
Mhm.
You know, why should people care about this beyond just the potential for a refund?
That's a great question. I think it really highlights
Yeah.
the unique challenges that self-employed individuals face,
Yeah.
especially during tough times.
Right.
You know, we often hear about support for large businesses,
Right.
but the self-employed are often overlooked.
Yeah, they're often kind of like navigating things on their own
They are.
without the safety nets that like traditional employees might have.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the pandemic really brought those vulnerabilities to light.
Yeah, it did.
So many self-employed individuals saw their income like vanish overnight.
It was rough.
It was. And this tax credit is a way of acknowledging those hardships and offering some much needed relief.
Yeah, it's recognizing that they're a vital part of our economy
Yeah.
and they deserve support.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And there's also, I think, a bigger lesson here about being aware of
Yeah.
and using available resources.
Mm-hmm.
So many people are unaware of programs like this that could potentially change their lives.
It's like there's this hidden world of financial opportunities,
There is.
but you need to know where to look.
Yeah, you got to know where to look.
And who to ask for help.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's where companies like SETC Pros come in.
Yeah.
They're not just helping people claim this credit,
Right.
but they're raising awareness and making it accessible.
Yeah.
And that's a valuable service in itself.
I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
It's empowering people to take control of their finances and advocate for themselves.
Totally.
Now, if we kind of zoom out a bit, this raises some interesting questions about how we support self-employed individuals in the long run.
Yeah, for sure.
The pandemic really exposed those gaps
It did, yeah.
in our safety net.
Absolutely.
And it's not just about responding to crises. It's about building more resilient systems that support self-employed individuals during good times and bad.
Precisely.
Yeah.
This tax credit is stuffed up in the right direction, but we can definitely do more to create a more supportive environment for those choosing self-employment.
I think that's really well said.
Thank you.
I think you've given our listener a lot to think about.
Yeah.
Both in terms of their own situation and kind of the bigger picture.
Hopefully it'll spark some conversations.
Yeah.
And inspire action.
I have no doubt it will.
Good.
We've covered a ton of ground in this deep dive.
We have.
We've explored the ins and outs of the SETC, addressed burning questions, and even gotten into some thought-provoking territory.
It's been a good one.
It has. But there's still one crucial piece left.
Oh, there is.
When we return for that final part, we're going to tackle how to actually maximize your potential benefits.
Ooh, I like it.
This is where it gets exciting.
I'm excited.
All right, welcome back to the deep dive.
It's crunch time.
It is. We've explored the what and the why of the self-employed tax credit.
Right.
Now it's time for the how.
Let's do it.
We're going to break down how you can actually squeeze every last drop of benefit out of this opportunity.
I love it.
So let's say someone's listening. They've figured out, hey, I'm eligible for this.
Okay.
What should they do next to make sure they're not leaving any money on the table?
Okay, so first things first, you want to gather all the intel you can.
Okay.
Remember, this isn't like a flat credit that everyone gets.
Right.
Your final amount depends on a bunch of factors. Net income, sick days, time spent caregiving, school closures.
Right.
You need to have all your ducks in a row.
So it's like a personalized puzzle. And you've got to find all the right pieces.
I like that analogy.
Okay.
So dig out those 2021 tax records.
Okay.
Especially your Schedule C. Jog your memory about how many days were actually affected by those COVID disruptions.
Right.
Having all that ready is going to make the application process way smoother.
Got it.
And it'll help you avoid missing out on any potential benefits.
Okay. So organization is key.
Key.
Now, I remember you mentioned earlier that you might be able to use your 2020 income if it was higher than 2021.
Oh, yeah.
Can we unpack that a little bit more?
Yeah, absolutely.
I bet that's news to a lot of people.
We all know incomes could be all over the place during the pandemic.
For sure.
So the IRS guidelines actually let you use the higher net business income.
Okay.
Either from the year that you're claiming the credit or the year before.
Interesting. So if 2021 was a rough year business-wise, but 2020 was good, you might actually get a bigger benefit using those 2020 numbers.
That's the idea. And the cool thing is, SETC Pros automatically figures out which option gives you the most bang for your buck.
Oh, wow.
It takes all the guesswork out of it.
That's awesome. Talk about simplifying things. It's like having a tax expert in your back pocket.
I like it.
All right, so we've talked about gathering info and these income calculations. Any other pro tips to really make the most of this credit?
If you need the money sooner rather than later, definitely consider those expedited funding options we talked about.
Right.
The IRS can take sweet time.
Yeah, for sure.
And if you're facing financial challenges, that wait can feel endless.
Absolutely.
Right?
It's all about finding the right solution for your situation.
Exactly.
Okay.
And even if you go the expedited route through a lender, you can always pay off that loan once that IRS refund hits your account.
Got it.
It's about having options.
Yeah, that flexibility is important.
Really.
Okay, so before we send our listener off on their SETC adventure, any final words of wisdom?
Honestly, don't let the process intimidate you.
Yeah.
SETC Pros has made this as straightforward as possible, and they're there to guide you every step of the way.
Yeah.
The key is to take action.
Yes.
Don't miss out on this potential financial relief.
I love it. Couldn't have said it better myself.
Good.
So to recap, if you were self-employed in 2021
Yes.
and COVID threw a wrench in your business, don't wait another minute.
Don't wait.
Head over to the SETC Pros website.
Check it out.
We'll put the link in the show notes.
Perfect.
Check your eligibility.
Yeah.
This would be a total game changer.
It could.
And remember, that deadline is looming April 15th, 2025.
Don't miss it.
Don't leave money on the table.
That's right.
Knowledge is power.
It is.
And you've got the power to make informed decisions about your financial future.
Couldn't agree more.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the self-employed tax credit.
It's been a pleasure.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deeper.